Today we are going to discuss about the questions related to counting and tutoring. So as for the last 4 lectures, we learned about looping, counting and tutoring. So today we are going to discuss about some questions which are related to counting and tutoring. So these are exam-based questions. Okay, so if you have enough good preparation and if you understand this question properly, I hope you will be able to understand, you are able to answer the questions in the exam. So let's start. Counting and tutoring. Okay, let's look at the first question. Write an algorithm using pseudocode or otherwise. Otherwise means you can write using Python also, or you can write using flowchart also. Okay, so Python or flowchart we are not using here. We are using pseudocode here. Okay, which will input 50 numbers. That means you have to use a loop, right? You have to input 50 numbers one by one. Check whether check only. Check means a kind of a validation. It's not a validation, it's just a check, and you have to give a like a output, like whether the number is in the range of 1000 to 9999, in the range of, right? That means when they are talking about the range, so it is inclusive. Okay, it is greater than or equals to 1000 or less than or equals to 900. 9999. Output how many? So many means counting. Many is counting. Counting means it is always depend on condition and increase by one. Out of range. So we need to know which are out of range. That means if the number is less than 1000 or okay, if the number is less than 1000 or greater than 9999, then it is out of range. How many? So that is only we need to find out one type of number which are out of range and output the percentage. So percentage, we will talk about percentage in the input numbers which are out of range. Okay, so let's start. So how many are out of range at the beginning? Okay, at the beginning, for example, this is the name of the variable which will hold how many numbers are out range when we finish our calculation. So at the beginning, number of out range is 0. Now for count is 1 to 50. Input number. So first we need to check, just need to check if number, how many number, check whether the number is in range, right? If the number is greater than or equals to 1000 and at the same time, the number is less than or equals to 9999, then here we don't need to count anything. We just need to show the user that yes, the number you input, this is in range. The number is in range. Okay, that's the output will show. And if. Now again, another if the number is less than 1000 or if the number is greater than, that means what? Then we can say the number is out range. That means out range will increase by 1. Plus 1 and if. You can decrease the size so that you can see the answer, so see the question here. So next count. right? Now, at the beginning, my total out range is 0. Okay. And I have to, there is 50 numbers in my account. So I have to input one by one. I ask the user, input the number. Then this is the first point done. Input the first number. Then I check here whether number is in range. So if the number is greater than or equals to 1000, and this end must be, it must be greater than or equals to 1000 and must be less than or equals to, at the same time, it must be less than or equals to 9999. Then it will be in range. Okay. Then this part done, checking is done. Now output, how many? Output we didn't do, but for that one we need to count first how many are out of range. How many are out of range? Output means you have to use the print command. So these two should go using the print. Output, how many are out of range? So how we know that number is out of range? If the number is less than 1000, or if any one of these true, that means number is out range, and out range will increase by 1. Okay, then we will go for the next number. Then number will be entered. Then we will do the same thing. The number 3 will be entered, whatever the number you have. Okay, you have to check whether number is out of in range, and next one is out of, if the number is out of range, you have to calculate how many are out of range. So let's talk about the last question, percentage. Percentage, wherever any question asks you about percentage, though they didn't ask you, for example, they don't ask you how many are out of range. If they only ask you, output the percentage input number which are out of range. That is, percentage always depends on many. Okay, to find out the percentage, you have to calculate the many. This is very important topic you have to understand. Percentage always depends on counting. Okay, for example, in your class there are 20 students. Okay, now you want to know how many students are from California, for example. So you have to count, right? You have to put a condition. Your city is California, yeah. If it is, then total number of students from California will increase by 1. Now, for example, after counting from 20 students, he found that 10 students are from California. Okay, so what is the percentage of the people from California? So this is the total number of people you have in your class over how many are from California. 10, you have to multiply it by 100. Okay, so 0, cut, and 50. That means 50% of the people in your class are from California, right? So to calculate the percentage, you have to count the many. Though if they don't ask you about this point also, that how many, but they ask you to find out the percentage, you have to calculate, or you have to counting. You have to do the counting first, right? You have to do the counting, because percentage, without counting, you cannot calculate the percentage. Now we will write here, we have to use another variable. Okay, out. You can write your suitable name of variable. So is out range. This is the total number of out range in my out of 50 number. Out of 50 multiply by 100. So that's the formula to find percentage, right? Now we're gonna print out. Print number of out range is out range. Is the name of the variable. For example, you have 10 numbers, out of 50, 10 are out of range. So number of out range is 10, and percentage of out range comma P out. That's it. Okay, I hope you understand. So let's go to the next question. Okay, now using pseudocode or otherwise, write an algorithm that will input 25 marks and output the number of distinction, merit, pass, or fail. So we have 25 marks. That means you can say 25 students, okay? So these 25 students are divided into 4 categories: distinction, merit, pass, and fail. Right? Distinction, merit, pass, and fail. Now, how you recognize that it's a distinction? If the mark is greater than 69, it's a distinction. A mark between 60 and 69, that is called inclusive, will be a merit. Inclusive means if you get 60 also you will get a merit. If you get 69 also it will be a merit. Mark between 59 and 50 inclusive, that's called pass. So they didn't mention about fail. That means if you get less than 50, it's a fail. Okay. So write a value that will input and find output the number of. Output the number of. You remember many, number of. These are synonym for counting. These are synonym for counting. So here we have to find the, have to calculate counting, right? Counting is what? Counting increase by 1 and always depends on condition. So let's start. So how many types of student do we have? 4 types. So we have to create variable for these 4 types because we have to show how many are distinction, how many are merit, how many pass, how many are fail. Clear? So that's why we need 4 variable that will hold the value. So in short, we can write distinction initially. How many? 0, merit 0, pass 0, and fail 0. Okay. Now 25 students. That means we have to use a loop for count equals to 1 to 25. Based on what I am taking decision? Based on mark we will taking decision. So input the mark. Now if my mark, the mark I got greater than 69, then distinction will increase by 1. Else if the mark is greater than or equals to, look at the, I think 60 and 69. Yeah. 60 and mark less than or equals to 69. Then merit equals to merit plus 1. Okay. Then else if mark greater than or equals to 50 and mark less than or equals to 59, then pass will increase by 1. Else mark, if you can write also else fail equals to fail plus 1, but I just want to show you if mark less than 50, then fail equals to fail plus 1. So how many if we use? And if, and if, and if, and if. Then here we'll write next count. That's it. So if we show you in short, so initially how many distinction do we have? 0, merit 0, pass 0, fail 0, right? So this is the first student mark. Then based on his mark, I will decide whether he got distinction, merit, pass or fail. Then I'll go for the next student. In the same way, I will calculate. So distinction, merit, pass, fail, count, and here is our mark. So based on the mark, I will decide whether he is distinction or not, or merit, or pass or fail. If any of the category the mark fall in, that variable will increase by 1. The value of the variable will increase by 1. Okay. So this is the way how we calculate also another counting. And counting always depends on condition, as you can see, mathematical condition. Okay. Logically, you have to take decision. Based on the decision, you have to increase a particular variable or decrease a particular variable. And finally, what we have to do, we have to print number of pass is pass, whatever the variable. Number of merit is merit. Number of distinction is distinction. Number of fail is fail. So 4 statement we need to generate to show the result properly. I hope you understand. Let's do the next one. Okay. Maximize a bit. Temperatures are being collected in an experiment every hour over 200 period. Are being collected in an experiment every hour. So 1 hour you take once the temperature. And how many hours? You are doing some science experiment. Okay. So you are calculating, you are taking the temperature as an input every hour, and you are doing the experiment. Your domain is for 200 hours. Write an example algorithm, using pseudocode or otherwise, which input each temperature and output how many. So how many means counting. How many of the temperature are above 20 degrees Celsius? How many of the temperature are below 20 degrees Celsius? So here, how many types of variable we need? We need 2 variable. This is our temperature, right? This temperature is divided into 2 parts as per the question. Okay, so we have to read the question properly and to define to initiate our variable. So sometime it is above, sometime it might be below. When it is above, when it is greater than 20, when it is below, when it is less than 20. So they didn't ask us any other condition, so we will not answer anything else. Okay. So 2 bullet point, normally these are 4 mark questions. Okay. And how many times we have to input? 200 times. That means we need a loop. Okay, for loop. Good. So how to do it? So initially we need 2 variable, which is one is above is 0 and below is also 0. Based on what we are taking the decision? Based on temperature we are taking the decision, right? So for count equals to 1 to 200. It's going fast. Input temperature, because based on the temperature we'll take the decision. If this is simple question, if my temperature is greater than 20, then what is gonna happen? Above, the variable above will increase by 1. Else if my temperature is less than 10, then I'll consider it as a below. So below will increase by 1. And if The previous question, I didn't write the output. I believe I don't have a space to do that. You understand how to write the output, right? So that's it. Next count. So always maintain the identification. Okay, you see here for next, almost aligned. If, right? Else if, and if, and inside this if, we write the body, right? So it will be easy for the examiner to read your algorithm. Okay. So that's it. So there are two types of temperature. Sometimes it is greater than 20, or sometimes it might be less than 10. So whenever it is, we need two types of temperature, and for the two types of temperature, we need to initialize two variable, which is above and below. And they're saying how many. So how many means increase by one, and always depends on condition. So we need to run a loop because 200 times we have to input the temperature. If you don't use the loop, you have to write the whole thing. This line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 lines you have to write 200 times, right? That's the power of the loop. I have to figure it out which thing's gonna be inside the loop. Then if I write that things inside the loop, that loop will do the rest of the thing. Okay. So if count is 1, the temperature I input. If it is greater than 20, above will increase by 1. If it is less than 10, below will be increased by 1. Good. Then we write the print. You can write number of times, temperature, less than, more than 10, 20, more than 20 is, you can write very nice sentence, no issue at all. Meaningful, okay? Is about, comma, number of times, temperature, less than 20, less than 10, sorry, is below. That's it. So I hope it's clear to you. Let's do the next one. So a company has 5,000 CDs, DVDs, videos, and books in stock. 5,000 CDs, DVDs, videos, and books in stock. So that means how many items do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 4 variables. For example, let's see. Each item has a unique 5-digit code with the first digit identifying the type of the item. So for example, the code is 10,000. So if you see 1, it says CD. If it is 2, first digit, right? So we have to focus on the first digit. Then it is a DVD. If it is 30,000, then it's a video. If it is 40,000, for example, the code is 40,000. So that will be considered as a book. So for example, for the code 15642, the 1 identifies that it's a CD. For the code 30055, the 3 identifies that it's a video, right? So write an algorithm using pseudocode or otherwise that input the codes for 5,000 times, 5,000 items. So that means we have to use a for loop. We have to input the code, then validates the input code. Of course, we have to validate whether it is CD or DVD or video or book. How many? Calculates how many CDs, DVDs, videos, and books are in stock. So we have to calculate how many are CD, how many, so counting, and output the 4 totals. Right? So here some mathematical thing that we need to remember is 5,000, right? So 5,000 the code is 5-digit code. That means 5-digit code. So as you can see here, they are saying that first digit is fixed. So here should be 1. Here should be also 1. So what is the lowest number using 5-digit code, but the first digit is 1? It will be 10,000, right? What is the lowest number using 5-digit, but the first digit must be 1, so you cannot change it. Okay, so if we start with 1, so 10,000 is the lowest number using 5 digits, right? And what will be the highest number? 1 is must. So highest number will be 1, 9, 9, and 9. So that's the range for the codes for CD. Similarly, DVD, it will start from 20,000 and the endpoint is 29,999. For DVD, as for video, it will be 30,000 starting point and endpoint will be 39,999. And for book, it is starting with 40,000 and 49,999, right? So there's the little mathematics you need to know. So let's start the code. So initially, how many CD, DVD, video, and book do we have? CD, 0, DVD, 0, video, 0, book, 0, right? So we have 5,000 items. So for count is 1 to 5,000. So we'll write if input code, right? Input code. If my code is greater than or equals to 1,000 and code is less than or equals to 19,999, then CD equals to CD plus 1. Else, if code is greater than or equals to 20,000 and code less than or equals to 29,999, then DVD is DVD plus 1. So similarly, else if your code is greater than or equals to 30,000 and your code is less than or equals to 39,999, it will be video plus 1. Else if your code is greater than or equals to, remember the syntax, okay? 40,000 and your code is less than or equals to, you should write less than or equals to this way, okay? Not this way. Less than or equals to, okay? Greater than or equals to this way. And code less than or equals to 49,999, then your book will increase by 1. That's it. That's next count. Then we write the print. Number of books is number of CD is CD, comma, number of DVD, comma, here this DVD, right? Continue 4 sentences, then it will be done. So I hope you understand. So always remember that for counting, you have to know the mathematical logic. You have to figure out what is the mathematics behind it. Then you have to use if conditional statement. Then following variable will be increased or decreased by 1. So that's it for today, for today's lecture. We'll continue we will solve more questions in our upcoming classes regarding counting and tutoring. Okay. Thank you very much for watching.